Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into the ultimate guide for RV traveling with kids. Buckle up, because we're about to cover some serious ground, and it's gonna be one wild ride. Listen, I love my kids, you love your kids, we all love kids. But let's be real, taking them on the road in a house on wheels, that's a whole other level of adventure. But don't worry, we're here to break it down, step by step, so you can spend less time stressing and more time making memories. Whether you're a seasoned traveler or a newbie, we've got you covered with tips, tricks, and advice to make your journey unforgettable. Think of this as your masterclass in RV family fun. We're talking everything from planning and packing to entertaining your tiny humans on the road. So grab your notebooks, charge your devices, and get ready for the ultimate RV adventure guide. Let's hit it! All right, let's talk planning. I know, planning isn't exactly the most exciting part of a trip, but trust me, when you're on the open road with kids, a little planning goes a long way. We're talking about minimizing meltdowns and maximizing fun. First things first, you gotta figure out where you want to go. Are you dreaming of national parks, beaches, or maybe a cross-country road trip? Get the whole family involved, pull out the maps, and choose your own adventure. Once you've got your destination locked in, it's time to map out your route. I'm talking about finding those epic rest stops, campgrounds that cater to families, and maybe even a few hidden gems along the way. Remember, spontaneity is cool, but not when you have hungry, tired kids in the back seat. This is key. Book your campgrounds in advance, especially if you're traveling during peak season. The last thing you want is to roll up to a packed campground with cranky kids and nowhere to park your home on wheels. Packing for an RV trip with kids can feel like you're preparing for a small-scale migration, but don't worry, I've got your back. The key here is to pack smart and pack light. First things first, create a master packing list. I'm talking clothes for all weather, toiletries, first aid kit, entertainment, you name it. And don't forget the essentials for the little ones, diapers, wipes, snacks, and their favorite comfort items. Here's a pro tip. Pack outfits in gallon-sized Ziploc bags. It saves space and keeps things organized. Plus, the kids can easily find their clothes without turning the whole RV upside down. And remember those entertainment essentials? Load up those tablets with movies, download audiobooks, pack some board games, anything to keep those little minds occupied during those long stretches on the road. Choosing the right RV is like picking the perfect pair of shoes. It's gotta fit just right. Too small, and you'll be tripping over each other. Too big, and you'll be wrestling a beast down the road. First things first, consider your family size. How many people will you be sleeping, eating, and let's be honest, living in this thing? Make sure there's enough space for everyone to have their own little corner of the RV. Next up, think about your budget. RVs come in all shapes and sizes, from budget-friendly camper vans to luxurious motorhomes. Set a realistic budget and stick to it. Remember, the goal is to have an amazing adventure, not break the bank. Now let's talk amenities. Do you need a full bathroom, a kitchen, or maybe even a separate sleeping area for the kids? Consider what's important for your family's comfort and make a list of must-haves. Once you've narrowed down your options, it's time to hit the road, or at least the dealership lot. Test driving an RV is crucial to make sure it feels right for you and your family. First, get a feel for the driver's seat. Is it comfortable? Can you see everything clearly? Remember, you'll be spending a lot of time behind the wheel. Next, take a walk around the inside. Open and close cabinets, test out the beds, and imagine yourself cooking, eating, and relaxing in the space. Don't forget to check out the storage. RVs have a surprising amount of storage space, but it's important to make sure it's enough for all your gear. And last, but not least, ask questions. The dealership staff are there to help you find the perfect RV for your needs, so don't be afraid to pick their brains. All right, listen up because this is crucial. Packing for an RV trip with kids, it's like a game of Tetris, but instead of blocks, it's tiny socks and endless snacks. You gotta be organized, people. We're talking military precision here. First things first, clothes. Don't be that family that packs their entire wardrobe. Remember, space is limited. We're going for essentials only. Think layers, think multi-purpose clothing. One pair of shoes that can handle a hike and a trip to the grocery store. You get the idea. And don't even get me started on the toiletries. We're talking travel-sized everything. Shampoo, conditioner, soap, you name it. Remember, every little bit of space counts when you're living in a home on wheels. Now, let's talk about the essentials. First aid kit, because accidents happen. Sunscreen, because nobody wants a grumpy, sunburned kid. And of course, the all-important entertainment kit. But we'll get to that in a later chapter. Okay, so we've tackled clothes and essentials, but now comes the fun part. Toys and entertainment. Now I know what you're thinking. We're going on an adventure. They'll be entertained by the open road. And while that's partly true, trust me, there will be moments, long stretches of highway, rainy days, when you'll be thanking your lucky stars you packed that entertainment bag. And remember, less is more. We don't want to recreate your entire playroom in the RV. Choose a few favorites, things that encourage creativity and imagination. A deck of cards, a travel-sized game, a notebook, and some colored pencils. These are the things that will keep them occupied for hours. And here's a pro tip: pack a surprise or two. A new book, a small toy they haven't seen before. It's like a little reward for good behavior, or just a way to break up the monotony of a long travel day. All right, we're hitting the road, the open road. But let's be real, hours of staring out the window can get old, even for the most adventurous spirits. That's where the power of audiobooks and music comes in. We're talking epic tales of adventure, side-splitting comedy, educational podcasts, you name it. Download a bunch before you leave, because you never know when you'll hit a dead zone for cell service. Trust me, it happens. And don't underestimate the power of a good playlist. Create a soundtrack for your journey, something upbeat and fun for when you're cruising down the highway, something calming and mellow for when you're winding down for the night. Music has the incredible ability to transport you, to set the mood, to create memories. So crank up the volume, roll down the windows, and let the good times roll. Alright, so we've got the audiobooks and music covered. But what about those moments when you need a little more interaction, a little more engagement? Enter road trip games. Classics like I Spy and 20 Questions never get old. And let's not forget the license plate game. It's like a geography lesson on wheels. See how many states you can spot on your journey. But don't be afraid to get creative. Make up your own games. Tell stories. Have sing-alongs. The possibilities are endless. And here's the thing about road trip games. They're not just about entertainment. They're about connection. They're about creating memories that will last a lifetime. Okay, let's get real for a second. RV travel is all about freedom, adventure, and making memories. But none of that matters if you're not prioritizing safety. So let's talk about some essential safety measures. First and foremost, make sure you're familiar with your RV. I'm talking about knowing where everything is and how it works. Read the manual, watch some tutorials, and don't be afraid to ask for help. Next up, regular maintenance. Just like your car, your RV needs some TLC to keep it running smoothly. Check your tire pressure, fluid levels, and brakes regularly. Trust me, a little preventative maintenance goes a long way. And speaking of maintenance, let's talk about smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors, and fire extinguishers. Make sure they're all in working order, and that everyone in the family knows how to use them. Safety first, always. Alright, so we've covered RV safety, but what about staying safe on the road? First things first, seatbelts. I know it seems obvious, but you'd be surprised how many people forget this simple yet crucial safety measure. Everyone buckles up, every single time. Next, plan your route and make sure you're aware of any potential hazards along the way. weather conditions, road closures, construction zones, these are all things you need to be aware of before you hit the road. And speaking of planning, let's talk about breaks. Driving an RV can be tiring, so make sure you're taking regular breaks to stretch your legs, grab a bite to eat, and recharge. A tired driver is a dangerous driver. And finally, be aware of your surroundings. Pay attention to other drivers, pedestrians, and cyclists. And always, always trust your gut. If something doesn't feel right, it probably isn't. All right, let's talk food. Because when those little humans in the back get hangry, it's all downhill from there, am I right? First things first, stocking that RV kitchen like a boss. You're not gonna have the luxury of a full-sized fridge, so think smart, think compact. We're talking about maximizing every square inch. Stackable containers, man, those are your new best friend. And don't forget about utilizing those vertical spaces. I'm talking hanging organizers, shelves, you name it. We gotta optimize, people. Now listen up, because this is crucial. Inventory, inventory, inventory. Before you even hit the road, know what you've got, what you need, and what you definitely don't need. Trust me, the last thing you want is to be miles from civilization, craving a specific spice that's sitting comfortably back home on your kitchen counter. And here's a pro tip, those over-the-door organizers, game changer. Perfect for spices, snacks, you name it. Keep it organized, keep it accessible, keep those tiny humans fed and happy. Boom! Okay, now that you've got your pantry dialed in, let's talk about actually cooking in this thing. Space is limited, so keep it simple, folks. One-pot meals, pre-chopped veggies, things you can throw together quickly. Think pasta, stir-fries, tacos, easy, adaptable, and kid-approved. And don't be afraid to get those little sous chefs involved. Let them help chop veggies, safely of course, stir the pot, or even choose the menu for the night. Remember those stackable containers we talked about? They're not just for storage, they're also meal prep ninjas. Pre-portioning snacks, chopping veggies ahead of time, it'll save you so much time and stress on the road. And here's a little secret weapon, a slow cooker. Throw everything in there in the morning, hit the road, and come back to a delicious home-cooked meal. It's like magic, but better because, you know, food. All right, after a long day of exploring, you need everyone to get a good night's sleep. But let's be real, cramming a family into a small space can be interesting, to say the least. The key here is maximizing what you've got. Think bunk beds, convertible sofas, even those cool overhead compartments. And don't underestimate the power of organization. Storage bins under the beds, hanging organizers for clothes, every little bit helps. Remember, a tidy RV is a happy RV. Now here's a pro tip. Create a designated chill zone. It could be a corner with comfy pillows and blankets, a hammock under the stars, whatever works for your family. Having a dedicated space for everyone to unwind can make all the difference. Oh, and one more thing, blackout curtains. Those are non-negotiable, my friends, especially if you've got little ones who wake up with the sun. Trust me on this one. Okay, so you've maximized space, you've got your storage game on point, but let's talk about making this place feel like home. Because cramped quarters or not, it's still your home on wheels, right? Think about what makes your kids feel comfortable and safe in their own beds. Maybe it's a special blanket, a favorite stuffed animal, or a nightlight. Don't be afraid to bring a little bit of home on the road with you. And here's a little something I learned from my own kids. Bedtime stories never get old. Whether you're reading from a book, making up your own tales, or listening to audiobooks, a good story can work wonders in calming those little minds before sleep. Finally, remember to be flexible. Things might not always go according to plan, and that's okay. Sometimes, the best memories are made when things go a little off script. Just roll with it, have fun, and enjoy the adventure. Okay, I know what you're thinking. Routine? On a spontaneous, free-spirited road trip? But trust me on this one, folks. Kids thrive on routine. and maintaining some semblance of normalcy, even on the open road, can be a lifesaver. Think about it. Back home, you've got your set schedules, your meal times, your bedtime routines. It brings a sense of security and predictability to their little worlds. And just because you're on an adventure doesn't mean you have to throw that all out the window. Now, I'm not saying you need to stick to a rigid timetable. Flexibility is key when you're traveling, but having some consistency in your days can make a world of difference. For example, try to keep meal times relatively consistent. Have a designated morning meeting to discuss the day's plans, and stick to your usual bedtime routine as much as possible. It'll help your kids feel grounded and secure, even when everything else around them is changing. Now I know what you're thinking. Casey, you're all about spontaneity and living in the moment. How do I balance that with routine? And it's a valid question, because let's face it, one of the best things about RV life is the freedom to go with the flow. But here's the thing, routine and spontaneity aren't mutually exclusive. You can absolutely have both. It's all about finding that sweet spot, that balance that works for you and your family. Maybe you stick to your usual morning routine but leave the afternoons open for exploration. Or perhaps you have a loose itinerary but make sure to have dinner together as a family every night. The key is to communicate. Talk to your kids. Explain that while you're on an adventure, it's important to have some structure in your days. Let them have a say in the schedule too. After all, it's their adventure too. Alright, so you've got the RV, you've packed it like a Tetris master, but have you gotten the little ones hyped for this adventure? Because let me tell you, an excited kid makes for a much smoother trip. Trust me on this one. Think about it. Remember those family vacations you went on as a kid? The ones you actually looked forward to? I bet you were pumped about them way before you even left the house. That's the energy we want to bottle here. Getting them involved in the planning is like handing them a magic key to the adventure. Suddenly, they're not just being dragged along for the ride. They're co-pilots on this epic journey. Plus, let's be real. Who knows better what kids like than kids themselves? Letting them have a say in where you go and what you do means they're more likely to actually enjoy it. Win-win, right? Now, involving them doesn't mean letting them plan the entire trip. You're still the parent, you're still the boss. But giving them choices within boundaries, that's the sweet spot. Let them pick some activities, give them options for campgrounds, maybe even let them choose a meal or two. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, just enough to make them feel like they're part of the decision-making process. You can even turn it into a fun learning experience. Have them research different destinations, look up interesting facts about national parks, or even help map out the route. The key here is collaboration. It's about working together as a family to create an experience that everyone is stoked about. Because at the end of the day, isn't that what family adventures are all about? Okay, so you're looking for places to go, right? Places that'll make your kids think, wow, this is the best trip ever. And while theme parks are cool and all, let's be real, they can drain your bank account faster than you can say Mickey Mouse ears. But fear not, my friend, because this beautiful country of ours is overflowing with incredible destinations that are perfect for families and won't break the bank. Think national parks, dude. Imagine this, your kids, wide-eyed with wonder, staring up at towering redwoods, exploring hidden caves, or spotting wildlife in their natural habitat. That's the kind of stuff that creates memories that last a lifetime. And the best part? Many national parks have campgrounds specifically designed for families, complete with playgrounds, hiking trails, and ranger programs that'll keep your little adventurers entertained for days. Now, I'm not saying you have to completely ditch the theme parks or anything. Sometimes, a little dose of Disney magic is exactly what the doctor ordered. But why not mix it up a bit? Throw in some off-the-beaten-path destinations, places you might not have even considered before. Think quirky roadside attractions, charming small towns, maybe even a dude ranch. The point is, don't be afraid to get creative and think outside the box. Remember, the most memorable adventures are often the ones that are a little bit unexpected. And hey, who knows? You might even discover a hidden gem that becomes your family's new favorite spot. Now, wouldn't that be something? Well, there you have it, folks. My crash course on RV living with the kiddos. Listen, I know it might seem daunting at first, but trust me, the memories you make on the open road, those are priceless. Remember, it's not about having the fanciest RV or hitting every single landmark. It's about spending quality time with the people who matter most, exploring new places, and embracing the adventure, even when things get a little messy. Because let's be real, with kids, things are always going to get a little messy. Thanks for watching. If you found these tips helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more travel guides and adventures. Safe travels and happy RVing with your little ones.